Hey everyone, here's your home buyer market update for this week. Let's start with mortgage rates. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is currently around 6.75%, which is actually down off their one-year highs we hit last Friday. Over the past few months, rates have actually been pretty steady, ranging from the mid sixes to high sixes. But next week could bring more volatility. The biggest report to watch out for is the Consumer Price Index report, or CPI, which measures inflation. We will also receive the Producer Price Index, retail sales data, and the results of several large treasury auctions. Lower than expected inflation would generally be good for mortgage rates. However, stronger inflation, stronger consumer spending, or weak demand for treasury bonds could push those rates higher. Now let's look at the Denver real estate market. At the end of July, there were about 13,000 active listings in the Denver metro. That was up almost 3% from June, giving buyers more homes to choose from and more negotiation power. There were about 3,700 homes sold during July. That was almost 12% fewer closings than in June and approximately 6% fewer than July of last year. So the market is clearly moving at a slower pace. The median closed price is around $605,000. That is actually an increase of 3% from July of last year. When we look at the entire year, though, median prices stayed around $600,000, so essentially unchanged over the last year. So prices are still holding strong despite less buyer activity. Homes that closed in July spent a median of 21 days on the market. The average home sold for about 99% of its final asking price. And remember, that number does not include seller paid closing costs, repairs, interest rate buydowns, or other things that were negotiated. So I'd be looking at homes that have been on the market for 2 to 3 weeks or more. These ones present opportunities to negotiate price reductions, rate buydowns, and closing costs, all paid by the seller. There's also a major difference between single-family homes and attached properties. The median price for a detached single-family home was $660K, which is approximately 1.5% higher than last year. Detached homes had just under 3 months of inventory and only spent 17 days on the market before going under contract. Condos and townhomes, however, are giving buyers much more negotiation power. The median attached home price was $380 for an attached property, down approximately 3% from last year. Attached homes spent 40 days on the market before going under contract, and there was about 6 months of inventory. So attached properties definitely presenting even more opportunities to negotiate. Overall, the market's a little slower and more selective, but still strong. Buyers have more choices, more time to make decisions, and more opportunities